Hi, I'm Don Carr, and this is Pickin 101 number 5. Today we're going to talk about string bending. If you play electric guitar, bending strings is probably one of the first things you learned how to do. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, and the Pickin vernacular incorporates most of them. Let me give you an example. Here's something that's a blues-type bending lick. Now here's something that's a little closer to a pedal steel guitar style lick. With those two examples, the notes are obviously different, but the big difference in the bending is the speed of the bends. Now, on the first lick, the bends were slow and deliberate, sometimes taking the entire length of the note and moving out of time back and forth between the original pitch and the bent pitch. In the second lick, the bends were quicker, moving either right to the bent pitch or moving in time. A pedal steel guitar has mechanical pedals and knee levers that when you press them all the way, they bend the string from one pitch directly to the other. Now, imitating that motion on guitar requires its own skill set, so that's what we're going to focus on. Lick number 1 is a classic steel guitar lick, and it requires a very specific in-time bending pattern. Here it is. So think of it as a shuffle, and the eighth notes are swung in more of a strict triplet pattern. So the first bend is like 2 eighth notes in a triplet pattern, so slower, and it's held. The release is like an eighth note, so it's quicker, twice as fast. The final bend is an entire beat, a dotted quarter note, so it's even longer. Okay, let me give it to you one more time. All right, let's break it down. Again. Okay, slowly. All right, let's focus on the fretting hand. So you can see my pinky is making a half bar on a B and an E in the 12th fret on the top 2 strings. And the only 3 notes involved are the G string, the B string, and the E string. I'm on the 11th fret with my ring finger on the G string, and it's bending up and down, and I'm using these two to support it. Right? So it's... So that's the only other note, is that E at that point. So again, slowly, for the fretting hand. All right, let's look at the picking hand. It's really just one appendage per string, if you will. You've got a pick on the G string, and you've got 2 fingers on the B and E string. So the big trick there, obviously, is getting all 3 of them to hit at the same time. Lick number 2 is a variation with different articulations, a different note, and the bends are slightly different. So here it is. All right, let's break it down. Once more. Okay, so you start with a bend on the 11th fret on the G string, and then let it go, and then a B, and then a muted note on the G string with your pick, and then C sharp, and then B, and then It's a pretty sharp move there. To that E, and then now that's a little quicker bend than the end of the last one. That was the last one. This is an eighth note. And again, the way the fingers line up on the picking hand is it's basically one appendage per string. So pick, finger, finger. And for another little variation from this, you can do this instead of playing that C sharp, you can play a D natural. Kind of makes it a seventh lick. Whatever way is easier. I'm finding it a little easier to reach in with my first finger. If you want to use your second finger, go right ahead. Lick number 3 uses a pre-bend, which means that the string is bent before you attack it. So here's the lick. The releases are in time and the last move is a half-step bend. Let's break it down. Once more. Okay, slowly. Okay, let's concentrate on the fretting hand. So we've got a high E and a high B, and that's with your pinky and your ring finger. Now you're going to start with the B string bent to a C sharp, right? All right, so it starts up there. So you better use your first two fingers to support that. So the lick starts with the high E note, and then same thing down 2 frets. And then the next move is, right, which is a G and a B, and then an E. And then I'm sort of pushing the G pretty close to a G sharp. It's kind of interesting because it's 2 different sounds. You've got a really strict, right, real hard bend that's in time and in tune and perfect, and this is a little bluesier. So with the picking hand, what we've got is start with middle finger and pick, and then pick for a muted note. Same thing. And then we switch to 2 fingers, pick, 2 fingers, pick. Lick number 4 has a moving note over a held bend, and it ends with a unison bend. So here it is. Let's break it down. Again. Okay, slowly. All right, let's concentrate on the fretting hand. So first move is, see we've got an A here in the 10th fret on the B string, bend up to a B, and then hold that, and then play a D on the E string, and then keep that bent B, and then we've got a C with the B still bent, and then release down to A, and then a G. So slowly. Right? Except for you want to get that a little more in tune. There you go. Okay, so let's concentrate on the picking hand. That starts with the middle finger on the B string. And then jump the middle finger to the high string. You could start with your pick. I like the little bit fleshier sound with the middle finger. So let's assume we'll start there. Middle finger, and then middle finger, pick, middle finger, back to the middle finger of that, or pick. Yeah, say pick. And then middle and pick together. Another big thing about this lick is muting. A lot of that's going on in the left hand. That's why my thumb's kind of hanging over, because I'm able to flatten out my hand a little bit. You can see how my fingers are a little flatter there. Because when you're bending those notes, a lot of time you're kind of running into the other strings and activating them. And less of that finger noise, note noise, ringing, less of that stuff you can get, the cleaner it is overall. So sometimes if you can use your thumb behind it to support, it's always better. But if you need the extra muting, you might want to flatten your fingers. Just be ready to move your thumb back when you need to. It almost goes without saying that intonation is critical on these bends. It takes a lot of control, and you have to know your guitar because they all respond a little differently. It is easier to do it with a fixed bridge, but it's not impossible with a trim bridge. Now, if you have a floating trim bridge with a lot of play that's pretty loose, it's going to be a little bit tougher to get these bends in tune, so take that into consideration. Use support fingers on your fretting hand whenever you can to help keep the bends more accurate, and mute. Man, you're going to end up muting with your right hand, your left hand, just however you can. Most of all, be patient. Any new technique takes a while to get used to. Thanks for watching Chicken Pickin' 101. There will be more episodes, so come on back. Feel free to leave a comment, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Don Carr for Sweetwater, from my basement, saying thanks.